within the heart space. It's as if there is a mechanism here that resembles it has a net. It looks a bit like a birdie, that kind of cone shape that seems to collect energy into the heart. It's almost like a receptor, though. It's looking to receive into the heart, but the issue seems to be that this receptor will take in any kind of energy. It feels as if it's so starved, and it doesn't know how to decipher what might be called supportive energy from damaging energy. Energy that is there to uplift rather than destroy or damage the heart. We also see this Leviathan tone circling the field. And the Leviathan, as far as we know, its history is somehow related to guarding these Atlantean tones. So there's a bit of a warning energy here. It's anxiety provoking, but also this level of secrecy, something being hidden, something being unable to be accessed here. And we absolutely feel like we are underwater here with this tone. So yet what's interesting is that the heart range is above, it's almost semi-submerged, as if the field itself is in water, but the heart is where this kind of receiver energy lies above the water. So that it's almost buoying the field in the sense that as long as the heart receives something here, it's enough to keep it from diving deep. As if it keeps the heart full enough to feel satisfied, even if these tones are not necessarily healthy for the field. So we start to bring the source light in here into the back of the heart. Oh, to release, yeah. And part of this keeps the field disconnected from its own self, because it's almost as if it's searching for external. It's like a feeding tube almost. An external feeding, and then since it's looking external, it isn't being allowed to feel its own energy. So it serves as this disconnect or numbing tone through the heart. I'm getting this as a manta, right? Okay, so but this is a cloak. It's a cloaking device. Wow. Okay, and feeling this into the right side of the abdomen. That it connects into the stomach, into the solar plexus range, into the mid-range of the abdomen. Okay, so let's come into the heart center now as we see this receiver starting to dismantle. As we do, there's a lot of tentacle, sea life, quarantine tones here that are releasing out. And this channel of light that at first appears, it is crystal, it runs through a crystal. There's something about this where there's a crystal here. The light moves beyond the crystal though, through the center of the heart, through the center of the core. And yet it's as if there's a lot of stuff that has been clogging here. So this is interesting because anything that is received external in the form of these, we'll just call them these feeding tones, right? So it's some kind of energetic sustenance that the field has been living on. May or may not be beneficial, but it does look here to be this almost milky tone, which creates sluggishness in the field here, in the heart. So the heart is not able to spin properly, and to flow properly. This is directly related to these underwater catastrophes. Definitely this, I'm hearing demonic, but also also transitory, also it's an energy that produces, it's constant fear, unsettled. It's a warring tone. So there's an undertone, this kind of preemptive tone, this expectancy. Always on edge though, waiting for disaster. Hypervigilance. And the feeling that once whatever this is arrives into the field, it will be a surprise. We won't know how to deal with it. We won't be prepared. We won't be properly on guard. So again, this tone of not being able to see this clearly and properly. Somehow always being in the dark no matter what. And I feel this through the left vision. And we come into this cloaking, yes, the manta tone, through the field. So anywhere the field has been appropriated, so what we're seeing here are these energies that have claimed the field, used the field, taken energy tones from the field to be used for their own, and the source field is kept in the dark as to this actually happening. And so then bitterness, embittered, they become embittered to the world around them. So this is what we might describe in this realm as this kind of victim mentality, and yet for these specific beings, it's not the case at all. What's happening is that under the cloak of deception, their field is being siphoned, and they don't know it. They feel something is off, but the general tendency is to blame one's own self. And because they are, let's say, of this source origin where they originate back to source light, they would, of course, seek within themselves, where is the distortion, not even considering the fact that it's happening external to them, that something else is the cause, because they are of source mind, which essentially states that we always revert back to source for the correction, for the shift, for the adjustment. And yet this is outside of their field, outside of their code. What's this appropriation. So yeah, this, spiky implants through the mind, through the heart. It's trauma based. It's a big, these seals through the field. Fields are intentionally being kept from seeing. And what I'm actually hearing as well is, if the field feels to be disheveled, if you feel a bit disheveled in your energy, this is really this devilish tone that is blocking in your field. Right? It's as if, good, okay, we come in to see this now. This screen. And it's actually like a projector field, because what's happening is, it's as if in the heart space there is a projector, like a TV screen almost, but the backside is facing the being. And so there's almost like a movie playing out to others. Others can see, but the energy field itself that is contaminated, let's say, is totally unaware of what is being shown to other fields through them. It's like they can't see their own field. They can't feel their own field. This whole mechanism through the heart here. So other beings can come up to you and say, okay, you're this, you're that, I can see this and that, and you can't connect to it. You're completely unaware of it. It's because of this mechanism, this implantation through the heart space. Okay. And it affects everything. It affects the nervous system. Because it affects into your emotional state of being, and then your brain naturally creates these stories and experiences based on your inability to fully feel your own light. So it's based off of the primal tone, it's a regeneration tone in the field, but it's of distortion, trauma field. Okay, and feeling that expressed through the masculine ranges then. And because of the devastation, I'm seeing a lot of electric kind of spark underwater, just dissolution. Things just falling into complete and utter darkness here. Wow. Through the masculine ranges, this tone is just utter defeat and there's a tone of defiance here as well. Okay. What seems to have been imprinted into the fields is this sense of, okay, this impending doom, this event is occurring, and I know what's right. So in my heart, I'm standing up for what I know is true, and yet that actually becomes my downfall. If perhaps I had taken the easy way out or ran and hid or something like this, right? Instead of feeling the compassion and love that I felt in my heart and following that, if I had chosen differently, I would have survived. Maybe things wouldn't have been as bad as they were. The disaster would not have occurred to the degree that it did. And so therefore, there's an imprint in the field that says if you fully follow your love and compassion, you will be in darkness. You will have your lights turned out. So let's come into the cellular ranges, please, and start to run this repair, welcoming you in to the sanctuary of healing. We are so pleased that you've joined us here. Just breathe gently into your abdomen, and as best you can, relaxing this abdominal range. You may feel tightness, apprehension. This is the fear trauma trapped in the fields here. And as the activation codes arrive into the fields, to do your best to relax, to receive them, shifting, debriefing, just allowing yourself to receive in this moment. And you don't have to know exactly what is happening within your field. There's no need to further damage your psyche in the sense of, if you're not truly clear at this moment as to these experiences and what occurred, that's perfectly okay. We're shifting these imprinted codes of fear, of survival, of trauma, tragedy, darkness, being in the dark, having the lights turned off, disconnected fully from your field. And we almost find it best to just breathe in and allow wherever you feel the joy and the clearing and the shift of this, just to breathe in and to enjoy this release. So much of what we see from the past is healing that is traumatizing, that is worrisome, that we have to somehow know and understand fully. If we're not in our full human conscious knowing, if we can't lay this all out completely into some kind of blueprint, that there's something wrong with us. And that's just not the case. You can heal, you can attune, you can shift. Words, this human language is very limited. It's more important that you connect energetically and can feel the truth of this energetically, rather than, let's say, seeing yourself here in this space, being traumatized from this event, knowing that you were present there, seeing yourself. It can be helpful, it can be entertaining even, and yet when that's the only thing we're seeking, sometimes we can miss the actual point of receiving the clearing and the shift back into alignment. Most important, to feel at peace here, to feel the clearing, and to feel that knowing within you, even if the knowing isn't related to something specific. It's a sign that your energy field is aligning, realigning, reattuning to your source code. Good. Finally feeling this shift through the mind as well. Opening into these forbidden chambers of the mind. They've been labeled as forbidden. The nervous system has avoided contacting these ranges within your own field, within your own body as a result. Let's clear through the back of the brain, please. The base of the neck and the base of the brain. Good, clearing through the heart. Let's just release any symbols and stamping into the field here. Any shackles on the right wrist. And good, coming into this clearing into the left abdominal range. We'll just start to step back here, sealing fully through your field. As it is so.